What's up, nerds, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Space Games. Today was Gamescom, and with it came never before seen footage of Resident Evil Requiem. So like always, your boy jumped straight into analyzing this new gameplay footage as I did my best to find every little nugget, confirmed detail, and other hidden things that you might have missed when you first saw the trailer. And despite the trailer looking like it wasn't much of anything, believe it or not, it actually did confirm and deconfirm a lot of things and theories that have been making the rounds. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. We start off with seeing Grace in Renwood Hotel working on her computer when her mother, Alyssa, walks in to greet her. This short exchange immediately lets us know multiple things all at once. First off, it confirms right away that Grace was actually there when her mother was murdered. One theory about RE9 was that Alyssa was not actually killed and that she is actually the Hag, the stalker enemy that hunts Grace throughout the hospital section of the game. However, since Grace was there when her mother was murdered, this kind of changes things and complicates that theory, but more on that later. The other thing that we have to take note of right away is Alyssa's voice actress.
Man, you have been on that thing all day. It's really coming down hard.
At first I thought it was Nicole Tompkins, the voice of Jill Valentine, but after hearing her speak a little more, this was clearly Maggie Robinson's voice, the voice of Lady Dimitrescu in Village.
Oh, be careful what you wish for, Ethan Winters.
Which means if Maggie is voicing Alyssa, then the theory that has been going around about Maggie voicing Alex Wesker in RE9 is a little less probable in my opinion. Anyway, moving on, we see Grace attached to her computer as she's been working on it all day, but we're not exactly told why. My guess, she's probably somewhere between 17 to 19 years old here, so maybe it's a project for school or college or something like that. Based on how she handles herself later, I don't think she's an FBI agent yet, but again, more on that later. Moments after Alyssa gets home, the phone rings and we get a shot of Alyssa looking out the window, which by the way is a scene from the reveal trailer, and a call from a mysterious stranger that says Miss Ashcroft before hanging up when Grace says yes. Now I played this clip over and over again trying to see if I recognize the voice, but no matter how many times I listen to it, it doesn't sound like anybody that I recognize.
Hello?
Miss Ashcroft?
Yes.
Whoever it is, he doesn't appear to have an accent, which is important to note later in this video, but again, for now, let's move on. Anyway, after the man hangs up, Grace tells Alyssa what happened, the power goes out, and Alyssa immediately becomes concerned as she says the following line.
They're coming.
Yeah, this is interesting for a few reasons. One, Alyssa is aware that someone is coming for her, and she's not surprised in the slightest. Whether that is because of a case she is working on, or the fact that she carries the antibodies of the daylight cure, that remains to be seen. But based on her reaction here, we know that one, she knows who's after her and why, and two, it appears to be a group or organization of some kind since she says they're here. As for who this they could be referring to, three options come to mind first. The Connections, which is probably the most likely scenario, the government, or the BSAA. The latter is the least likely as I don't see the BSAA getting involved with Alyssa unless she found out about them using BOWs, but the other two options are very likely in my opinion. One theory that has been making the rounds lately with some of my friends, Conjureline and Center for Evil being some of the people talking about it, is that the government might be the villains in this game. Since the government was involved in the cover-up of Raccoon City, it's possible that it was them Alyssa was investigating, and when she found out about this truth regarding Raccoon City, the government sent people over to take care of her. My money's on the Connections though, mainly because I still think that the daylight cure will play a major part in this game, and the Connections are the ones that I think are most likely to be after it. Again, more on that later though. Eventually, Grace follows Alyssa out of the room and down the hall, which begins the gameplay section of the trailer, which is very brief actually. One thing to know is that we are playing as Grace in this section, which means that Alyssa doesn't appear to be playable like I originally thought. This also confirms that probably, most likely, Alyssa's not that second protagonist that one Capcom rep was referring to. These sequences also show us that it was Grace following Alyssa in the flashback scenes during the last trailer, not a cameraman like we originally thought. Other than that, the gameplay doesn't really tell us anything that we didn't already know about the game. Eventually, Grace and Alyssa make their way back to the lobby in which we approach the man that we saw in the original trailer. However, unlike what most of us thought when we first saw that original trailer, this man wasn't in the Renwood Hotel in the present and wasn't an FBI agent either, but rather he was the manager of the hotel during the murder of Alyssa Ashcroft. Anyway, the man is killed by the hooded figure, but not before we get a better look at his killer this time. First off, looking at this guy's facial expressions again, anybody that is on the Leon train is just absolutely crazy right now. Yeah, I never thought this was Leon to begin with, and this new look at the man confirms this in my opinion. But I will say that there are two theories that I didn't buy at the time, but now I'm rethinking them completely. Seeing the sadistic expressions on the hooded figure as he kills the man, I get some major Lucas Baker and Nikolai vibes. I know that's kind of a stretch, but if this character is someone that we wouldn't have recognized, then why is Capcom hiding their face? And when looking at the cheekbone and expressions on this guy, Lucas and Nikolai are the ones that fits this guy's physique the most in my opinion. However, there are two problems with both of these guys being the Hooded Man. One, I know Lucas died in Resident Evil 7 and Nikolai appeared to die in Resident Evil 3 Remake. My explanation for Lucas is that maybe, just like how Evelyn was connected to the Megamycete network and Village despite dying in RE7, Lucas was alive there as well before being resurrected in a vessel at a later date. Also, if this is Lucas, then he could have been sent here by the connections, rather that is because of the case Alyssa is working on or her daylight cure antibodies. This would also mean that anybody that's been thinking that Brandon Bailey is the main villain and the man in the chair might actually be onto something. As for it being Nikolai and how he could have survived, well, I did say this in a YouTube short a while ago that the way Nikolai was left alive at the end of RE3 Remake was a really weird decision by Capcom. Sure, the dude is obviously screwed considering that he has a gunshot wound and no way to escape the city before the bomb hits, but man, it's just really weird that Capcom just didn't have Jill kill the dude. On top of that, Capcom changed up the lore a little bit by making it seem like Nikolai was working for someone outside of Umbrella, which wasn't the case in the original game. This change seems really weird to me if they were just going to kill him off anyways, especially since they didn't even reveal who he was actually working for. If they go this route though, the government idea makes the most sense. Maybe this entire time Nikolai was working for the government and he was sent there to take care of Alyssa, who knew a little too much about the truth of Raccoon City. But the second thing that makes me doubt that this is neither Lucas or Nikolai is actually something that happened earlier in the trailer. There was a man that called who asked for Miss Ashcroft, and the man that called clearly did not have an accent. Lucas Baker, on the other hand, has a very strong southern accent, while Nikolai has a strong accent as well, and if it was one of them on the other line, we would definitely know it. Of course, this could be someone else calling to confirm that they are in the room, like Brandon Bailey, Oswald E. Spencer, or some government official. The voice doesn't have to be the same voice of the Hooded Man after all. Still, both these theories are long shots, but I can't think of any other options. Hit up the chat and let me know who you think it is though. Moving on, after the scene, we find Grace and Alyssa near the emergency exit with the power back on. I'm assuming there's a lot of gameplay skipped here in which we play as Grace as they both search through the hotel, avoiding the Hooded Man before getting the power back on. Regardless, in this area near the exit, we get another quote from Alyssa that was in the original trailer before Alyssa is killed in front of Grace.
Please know that you are my hope. Please know that you are my hope.
Now, I tried to get a good look at who killed Alyssa, but all I can really see, no matter how much I brighten up the image, is a shadow with a weapon. The easy answer is probably the Hooded Man, but again, can't really confirm or deny that. Either way, I assume that Alyssa probably tells Grace to run as she's dying in this sequence, and since the exit door is behind her, Grace has no choice but to run away, leaving her mother behind. One side of the coin says that, okay, Alyssa could technically still be alive to some extent, and maybe her body was taken by the man and used in experiments, hence why she still could become the hack, like some theories suggest. It is weird that Capcom chose to black this scene outright as Alyssa is supposedly murdered. If this is the case, then that means that the whole government cover-up thing has to be true, because they would need to replace the body somehow, sometime after Grace left, to make her think that she was actually dead this whole time. The other side of the coin though is much more simple. Alyssa died in front of Grace, probably by beheading based on how the killer was swinging his weapon, and this immediately deconfirms any possibility that Alyssa is the hack. Regardless, this ends the trailer, and that's pretty much all I have. Let me know if you guys noticed anything that I didn't. Also, anything in the trailer change your mind about certain theories that you had before you saw this trailer? Finally, there is a playable demo at GamesCom that attendees will have a chance to play tomorrow, so between that and the fact that there's apparently some sort of embargo that is lifting tomorrow, I would expect some more updates on Resident Evil Requiem tomorrow at some point. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But anyway, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and hit the like button to really help this channel out. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode of Nerd Space Games. Take care.